channel. I am chill, last name Monger. It's 7 a.m. Like Rebecca Black sang in her famous song. Waking up in the morning, gotta be fresh, gotta go downstairs, gotta have my bowl, gotta have cereal. Seeing everyone, the time is going, ticking on and on. Everybody's rushing, gotta get down to the YouTube, gotta stream Ahsoka. I see my friends sitting in the same seat with the stars behind me. Gotta make my mind up. Did I like this show? Ahsoka, Ahsoka, gotta get down Ahsoka, getting it down to the weekend, partying, partying, yeah. Jedi and Sith, yeah. Shin Hati, yeah. Balin, Skull, looking forward to Dave Filoni. How the series gonna end? If you're joining me just now and you're like, what? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Ahsoka Tano, the series begins. Episode 1 happens. It dropped at a reasonable hour. I enjoyed it. I watched it, and I needed like some time to decompress. I didn't even start the second episode because I needed to let me take that all in. We are learning more about Ahsoka and the relationship she has with Sabine. Apparently, she was the Padawan because how many years have passed since we last seen them in Rebels? I do like that there's like a story that happened in the 10 plus years that we missed out on. Of course, what nothing happened between these characters? Of course, something happened. In Rebels, she doesn't really have too much of a relationship with Sabine, but here we learned that she actually picked her up. The worry that was with me during this show's trailers and everything leading up to it was, is Sabine someone who's all of a sudden, yeah, she had the Force the whole time. Yeah, her metachlorian count, it was up there. No problems here. She's going to be able to wield a lightsaber and raise rocks and all that stuff. Nah, there was a line that we got to hear. Maybe it was even in the second episode, but there was something that kind of relieved me. Hu Yang, which is the droid, he says to her, "You, of all of the Jedi students, all the Padawans, had the least aptitude with the Force." Some line like that, meaning to me, okay, then this isn't like them telling us all of a sudden, yeah, she's definitely Force sensitive. She's primed to be a Jedi. That's not what's happening. Remember that Ahsoka Tano is no Jedi. She's someone who can do anything she wants to do how she sees fit. Oh, you guys, you Jedi, you only kind of embrace the Force and do only with the select prospects, right? Like you find certain people who are right for it and you give them a chance to become the Jedi. No, you know what I do? Sabine is my friend. You want to get into this, I don't know, apprentice relationship with a master? We're not going to call it Jedi, but when we want to do that, yeah, come here, Sabine. I see no one else. You've got the mentality. I'm myself. I'm not this person who's like, oh, religion, Jedi kind of thing. But it doesn't mean that Ashla doesn't exist or the light side of the Force isn't a thing. That's wise. See, this is really expanding what we know as Star Wars. It's not going to be the, as Palpatine put it, the narrow dogmatic view, the worldview. No, she's practicing the Force, which has no, to my knowledge, there's not like a god, a lord who said you have to practice this way. To my knowledge, that's not how Star Wars goes. It's free for everyone to interpret their own way. There's probably some people in the next galaxy over using the Force or whatever their word is for this energy field that surrounds and penetrates us. They probably exercise it a different way. And so it doesn't belong to any sort of cult. Yeah, the dark side could all be true, that it's weakness and fear leads to anger and all that stuff that they say about the dark side, the stigma towards it may all be still a true thing. Doesn't mean that there's not someone who can balance it. Yeah, it's tempting. And we've seen Ezra, we've seen characters all over the place who've been teased with doing things the easy way, the shortcut, using their emotions and attachments to get them into the dark. There's a lot of that, and there's worries, and there's reasons why we shouldn't be, too attached to these holocrons and whatnot, as we learned in season 3 of Rebels. But Ahsoka is beyond that. Okay, so Sabine Wren, Ahsoka, the relationship is formed, and we kind of learn more about it. Getting to see Hera there too. Do you think we saw too much of Sabine? Because I do think it was too much of Sabine, but it was also a long first episode, so I didn't lose out. I didn't. If this was like a 44-minute episode and we got a lot of Sabine, I'd say, dude. But it was like something like 50 minutes episode, and so yeah, we got extra Sabine. I guess people needed to be introduced. Unfortunately for the newbies, this show is not for you. Too bad, so sad. You want to watch more Rebels? It's on the same streaming service. You still pay for Disney Plus. Go watch some Rebels. Go educate yourself. Go watch the first episode of Clone Wars, the first movie of it, and then go see in season 5 where Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order. You can pick up that. There's like an essential list of shows that you're supposed to see of that they have primed for you. And if you're not willing to do that and put the hours in, too bad. It's not for you. It might take 4 hours, 5 hours out of your day to get all these essential episodes. And they do the same thing for Mandalorian. You want to know who Bo Katan is? There's like an essentials episode. Hey, before you watch this new season of Mando, go see where the Mandalorians fought in the season finales, and there and there and there. Here's Pre Vizsla. And you can see that if you want to see that. And if you don't want to do it, too bad. And that's the mentality that I like. This is for the fans. When we see an Inquisitor show up, they don't need to stop to tell us, this is an Inquisitor. And then back during the rebellion, that they were really hard and they had red lightsabers that spun also. They don't stop to tell you that. We, the fans, are over here. Is that Inquisitor that we just saw, Marok? Is that Barasafi? Could it possibly be Star Killer? That's for the fans to decide, and that's what this show is doing, and it's executing it well. The Ahsoka character herself, she doesn't have enough. She doesn't like emote. She's very stoic, too much, but there isn't a lack of emotion in the scene. There isn't a lack of Star Wars and dueling even. I got to see Baylan Skull act like a complete boss. He had his own hallway scene where he was just terribly menacing, right? And I got an answer whether or not he's a Jedi or not. He doesn't consider himself that. However, his little Shinhati, she says master to him. That's some sort of apprenticeship relationship. She looks young. I think that Baylan Skull may not survive the series, but because they got somebody so young, then she will survive the series, and we'll see her more and more in Star Wars to come. Maybe she can turn to the good guys, to the good side. Too stoic. What's going on, my friend here? M. Haka. Yeah, man, she was too stoic. And that could be because maybe those Montreal that she has restrict sort of her emotions and ability to kind of act out. Maybe her wrinkles that she'll make when she makes faces may cause a damage in the aesthetic. And if that's the case, bro, if that is what it is, do the scene where she does that. It'll crumple up the face. Cut. Get some makeup artist there. Makeup artist get the orange lines all orange again, and then you repeat the lines again. This is a very expensive production, and I'm gonna need some to stop in between takes to fix the makeup if that's the case. Or is that the personality that Ahsoka becomes, where she's just so chill? Remember when she saw Grogu? Ooh, come here, little one. His name is Grogu. I can't teach him. She wasn't acting out too much there either, but she was supposed to be silent. It was in the middle of the night. Now in these scenarios, I got to see Hera. I am a general. I override this. What do you have to declassify it? I saw Hera really give a lot. I'm so pleased with the Hera casting and the performance that she gave and where she is too. Everything about Hera works for me. Hera Syndulla, the voice, the everything fit, and it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's the wife, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, her Ewan McGregor's wife, and you can keep things in the family like that. That's nice. That's really nice. They can go to conventions together and stuff. If you're thinking that way. I kind of have the screen shared, and so I want to put the Disney Plus right there, and I want to go to the scene that I'm thinking of. Let me pause it so I don't get sued by these guys. But the one where Ahsoka herself starts fighting here, she does this nifty move that we remember seeing in Clone Wars. It's nifty here, where she turns and she does these holes that are inside. She does the holes. So cool. It's so cartoony. It's so Dave Filoni. I can see how that would be something that would be, on a Saturday morning cartoon. Just, oop, the droids fell through their holes. What happened to them? They've been damaged. And the usage of droids is a good way to have a lot of action scenes, sans violence, because I don't think it's considered violence, even though you're decapitating somebody. It's not considered like a violent act. Strange Marvel theories. Did Baylan and his apprentice have orange sabers? They were orange. Man, you must have missed the trailers because that was the talk of the town. When we watched the trailers for this show, we saw that there were orange lightsabers early on, and we had our questions about it. Here she is. This may be it. There. You can see a little orange hue to the lightsaber igniting. That's classified orange. Red and orange are neighbors. They're right next to each other. But if you were wondering strange Marvel theories, they were. And what does that mean, though? Someone I was watching, I don't remember which YouTuber because I consumed a lot of YouTubers. Somebody was saying that he didn't just come on the ship and say, I'm going to kill everybody here. He was more so like, let me talk my way through. Hey, I don't want to. He says, I don't buy it. And it's not like, he says, I don't understand. You're no Jedi. And there's not exactly like a, oh yeah, I've had enough of this. He really didn't want to sacrifice the life. He did have some sort of compassion towards him. Balin Skull isn't fully on Sith either. He said some line in the second episode about, back in the um on Coruscant, we had kids, we had these Padawan stories. So I guess he was a Padawan back when he was before Order 66. Did he leave the Order similar to the way Ahsoka did? And did he just I'm going to drop this Jedi thing? I don't really vibe with it. Let's tune into what's happening in the dark side. What, we're going to restrict knowledge? That's censorship. He might be one of the people like that who have their own reason for leaving. I don't really want to know that he survived Order 66. I'd rather hear that he was someone who detracted from the Jedi way, and he was well trained, but he just said, "Nah, it's not for me. Let me go kick it with my family. I have attachments." I read that the orange is a synthetic crystal. Pay no attention to that synthetic semantics thing. Those are all from novels and canon material that isn't Dave Filoni approved or written, or something that happened in a Clone Wars, Bad Batch, Rebels, the movies. And if it didn't happen there, they don't care about it. I know, guys, you guys may be reading this High Republic stuff and how important it all is and stuff. Don't value it too much. Speaking of orange. I'm sorry, man. A lot of you guys do like to read the comics and stuff, and it's nice to see what happened in between episode 4 and 5. Well, you can check out the Star Wars new volume by Charles Soule, and then what happened between episode 4 and 5 and 6. And yeah, you can go to the comic shop right now to read stories of that year time period between. You can do that. You can read Kieran Gillen and the Darth Vader series, and you can do that for your own enjoyment. Does it necessarily mean these things happened? No. Does the new Wookiee that came out, Black Chrysanthemum, yeah, he's a comic book character, and they decided to use it, and that's like a cool, I don't know, like a little lob to the layup, to the, like a little. They gave something. They passed the ball, and they said, "Don't worry, comic book people, you can read that, and it will matter." But that wasn't enough. That wasn't a lot. That wasn't lore shattering. That was like an extended character that happens. Yeah, we can use him here. He fits. Good gesture, but that's not. They don't have the power to dictate story. The color indicates the alignment of the wielder of the saber, something like that. You're asking the wrong guy though, because I don't partake in those. I might watch like a video here and there from someone who's got Star Wars explained in his title, but I don't really care for that. I care more about like the action scenes and the lightsaber fighting, which was satisfactory here. Towards the second episode, there was a lightsaber fight where I think Ahsoka, she stabbed the droid, and then she started using it as some sort of like shield. Oh, protect me, protect me! And she was battling the Marakai. That was a cool action sequence, and we haven't been getting a lot of that. And it's very good. It was very week 1 introductory of the lightsabers and what they can do. That was pretty nice. I feel like Balin is trying to locate Thrawn to confront him. I don't know. And that would be a nice little touch to see that he's not really for the Dathomirian witch, who is Morgan Elsbeth. And he's more like, nah, I got to do things the right way. I know the Bendu. Can you imagine? What if he's an agent of the Bendu? We don't know much about the Bendu. He could be an agent of the Bendu. And so can Shin Hati. Shin Hati is a very key. Let's talk about her eyes. Let's find a scene from her. Go to Shin Hati. Where are you at, Shin? Shin Hati. Here. Oh, we almost had it. I was a second too late to pause it, but we're somewhere around the 413 mark. Those freaking eyeballs. Like, you don't pay her enough. And that's just natural. That's just the way she looks. There's nothing you can do about it. She's got I want to see those eyeballs as a villain. I want to see those eyeballs turn some sort of in between, and I want to see her turn good, and I want a 60-year arc. Okay, a 60. That's what Chillmonger's asking for. A 60-year arc. I'll stay alive for all of it, and we want to see the elevation of this character and the progression. Man, the way she looks is so Star Wars fitting. There is a problem with Star Wars where there's too many human characters, but you know what the show's called? It's called Ahsoka Tano. So we're good. We're covered when it comes to the alien representation here in the show. And Hera is also there too. Let's talk Chopper. Chopper was neat. Chopper, we need to find some sort of locator. Hey, throw it. And he saw a little Lego piece there, a little Easter egg of a Lego piece. And then he throws it and he goes, yes, got it. Yo, we are not ready. There is going to be some sort of Chopper scene where he's rolling, got the two blasters, and he just You think that he took a lot of people out in Rebels? Chopper has a reputation for killing, and this droid of Chopper is going to kill more and more and more. There's a scene coming. They're just warming you up. They're preparing you. Hey, newbies, you don't know about Chopper, right? Say, start liking him now. Start liking him. We'll give you a couple scenes where he does these accomplishments, but R2D2's got nothing on him. Yes, the eyes. I read that a true Sith has red eyes. Her eyes were not red, were they? They were just captivating. Yeah. Back to me. I'm pleased with it. I do have worries and concerns about it, which I'll get in the second little part of this review. But it does feel like it's story building. It does feel like everything that we've seen is to conclude somewhere. It's not like they're just throwing out scenes out there for nothing. Everything dealing with Sabine and her relationship with Ezra, which we know that Ezra had a hots for her back in the days. Now he says that you were a sister or something. It was weird. We know that there's going to be some sort of, I guess, kiss or something. Where does Zeb play in all of this? I don't know. But he's going to be a really expensive character to use, so we might get him in like a all blue what do you call those phone calls that they do in Star Wars? Holograms? We might see him in a hologram, so it's easier to edit. It's easier to VFX, and we'll see him talk a couple times. And he'll show up at the last episode and be all excellent and stuff. We might get that. A 50,000 body count for Chopper and growing. Chopper has way more character than R2D2. Diesel, I got my coffee here too. Delicioso. I think that the 50,000 body count, it's no exaggeration, man. The way this man took out a Star Destroyer with magnets that could attract other Star Destroyers, and then they all just hurt each other because they used the tractor beams, I should say, not magnets. Yeah, that was 50,000 right there. No sympathy, because I remember with those the Emperor and the Empire, they were taking out some transports that weren't rebellions, transports that had no modifications to have weaponry on them. And they said, you know what though? That ship that they have, the Ghost, that's also a transport, but they modified it with weapons, so you can never be too sure. And I was watching that scene, and I go, because I was just yesterday I was watching that scene, and I go, that is a very good justification for why the Empire would shoot at these ships that don't have weapons. You guys, you rebels, you screwed it up by modifying one transport or one non-battle ship. By modifying it and by showing them that this is something that can shoot at them. Now, okay, fine, free reign. We can use war crimes. Heavy, man. The Star Wars stuff is deep. That Rebels show, man, I did not care about it when it came out. The first season came out, I didn't even know it happened. This was back in 2014. Didn't even know it happened. And I was a Star Wars fan at that point. I had seen all 6 films. And I think it was only until we heard Maul returned and I saw that stuff on my social media feed at the time, and I didn't have YouTube back then, and I would see, okay, the Rebels matters. Let me watch the first episode of it. I think I got, and then I would tune in every now and again. Also, Ahsoka's here. That she fights Darth Vader. Let me see that. Oh, that's an amazing scene. Tune in. The last season I kind of caught in. I saw the finale when it happened and everything because I was more invested at Star Wars at the time. I think the trilogy of the Nyquil trilogy had happened, and so that's where I was. I didn't really care about the Rebels the way I did during this Rebels rewatch, where some episodes I am watching for the first time. I'm going, hey, this is really a Star Wars. This is really the universe that I love. This is about Hondo and Nako. No. This is about the pirate Hondo. This is about the Jedi Order, things that happened afterwards. I love it. We're tying in holes, even with what's happening on Bad Batch, where they're tying in holes. There is storytelling happening here on Disney Plus since the beginning of it, since Mandalorian 1. What happens in Ahsoka is storytelling. It's not filler content. It is not what happened with Secret Invasion, where Nick Fury descends and all of a sudden we got to hear about how he lost his mojo. 6 episodes happen. He's got it back. And he goes back up with his Skrull wife that he kisses, and we'll just act like none of that character progression stuff happened. There'll be no consequences to, oh, there's a million Skrulls living in, because no one's going to talk about it in Thunderbolts. No one's going to address that. That's not the plot of Captain Marvel 2. It isn't the plot of what's else? What's down the works? The Echo show. It's got nothing to do with anything. It's just filler content. Not at Star Wars. Dave Filoni worked on that prior stuff, and so he'll use the current stuff. If you're a comic book head, sometimes a new writer like Jonathan Hickman will be writing the Fantastic Four, and then all of a sudden he's writing the Avengers. Now he's writing the X-Men, and some of the stuff he wrote prior matters still. Yeah, because it's the same writer. What's he gonna do? Neglect the work that he did prior and act like it's just filler material? No, he'll honor it. And so there is value in having the same guy story build, as opposed to someone who hired, and I'm dissing Kathleen Palpatine, someone who just hires, hey, you do a movie here, you do a movie there, you do a movie. You guys are all separate people. Okay, Tony Gilroy is doing his thing. He's going to do a movie. And then we're going to hire these new guys to do the solo movie. And we're also going to hire these people over here to do J.J. Abrams and Colin Trevorrow and Ryan Johnson. Go do your thing. There's a difference. There's more. You don't have to teach somebody who's already been on prior things. He'll be like, oh, we do need a villain. We do need a character to say this. We do need a place. How about this place? Because, and then we'll show you that this place has changed since the last time we've seen it. How about this villain? How about this reason? How about this galactic rule? How about this team? These events happened. This changed that. I remember because I worked on that, and now we get to see why, or we get to see how. Was it successful? What were the ramifications, the consequences sometimes of the decision we made? Where's Lothal at? Lothal looks like it's all happy. It's sunny, which it barely ever was when we watched Rebels. And that has nothing to do with the show of Ahsoka. No plot, no nothing. It's just it's a sunny day. It's beautiful, and then she's on her bike, and we go, oh man, look at this liberated place. Look how much better it is. That felt nice seeing that. Okay, Ezra was into Sabine early on, but at the end of Rebels, they squashed the idea in his behind-the-scenes commentary. I didn't know. Ezra's sister comment confirms that. Okay, it's also within that new, I don't know, mindset that I don't need no man type thing. Or, hey, Ezra's the princess in distress who needs to be saved, okay? Yeah, and Sabine's going to do it. And she can survive lightsaber wounds. Let's talk about that one now. We may get to see Sabine has come around and is into Ezra. Doubtful, man. Doubtful that they would do that with a lady character. Remember, just because Kathleen is on her way out, it doesn't mean that she wasn't overseeing some of this stuff, and she may have some interference. The lightsaber wound. If I can go to episode 2, let me get that primed and share my screen, please. I went to. Where's the wound? Where's the wound? Show us the wound. Where she gets stabbed. I want to see the wound. I want to see the wound. I'm not going to find it. Well, we can see it in the flashback scene. What happened to her? Here. I gotta be careful with how much I show because they're gonna like flag this video. So apologies for this like poor portion. But when she does get stabbed, that's a fatal blow. When we saw what happened to Qui-Gon Jinn, I'll play a little bit of it. There. If the lightsaber goes through you, and a lightsaber has the capabilities to do what we have canonically learned that it can do, which is cut through metal, it can do a lot of violent stuff. That should be a fatal blow. The lightsaber is so heatful, it emits so much that you can see that on the right side of our screen that it's still continuing. It's not like all. So this is the source of the power through here, this hilt, and it launches, it launches, it launches. It goes through her, and with no interruption to its energy flow, it's still going. So that means that the insides of her is hot. It's damaged her. There's a hole inside of you, and you're gonna be when this gets pulled out, you're gonna be leaking the insides of you. Like it's been vaporized. Parts that were inside there don't exist anymore, and what it was holding up is now supposed to come out. Sabine Wren is a Mandalorian. That is not some unique species. That's a human, like a Terran. That's a normal, like me, like a people species. To my understanding, she doesn't have an extra stomach and an extra liver and dual hearts and lungs. That's a fatal blow in Star Wars. What we've learned, I saw Qui-Gon Jinn die from it. She should die from it too. If she was there and there's a Force healer right next to her, all right, cool. Or if there's some of that spray that IG-88 has, IG-11 has, if you and sprayed it on Din, yeah, right on. Back to water, back to okay. She didn't have that. She just had I've been stabbed, and Ahsoka wasn't there when she got stabbed. Uh, to the immediate vicinity. This is an actual meme about Qui-Gon in that scene. Yeah, just a flesh wound. Just a flesh wound. I was kind of cheesed because I knew she wouldn't die I had a sense of a big feeling she wouldn't die in the first episode. So to see that, I'm like, ugh. How do I make that rationale? I watched Star Wars Theory do a video on it. He said that the villain was Darth Maul left that saber inside of Qui-Gon Jinn and kept it in there for a good little bit. Hey, make sure that he's actually dead, and then boom, takes it out. And that's why Qui-Gon Jinn died, okay? And plus, he didn't get immediate medical facility attention. Qui-Gon went out, but then there was still Obi-Wan, and he was waiting for the red thing to clear out. And it finally did, and now he's battling Maul, and they went toes for a little bit, and a little bit of time passed, and Qui-Gon's over there dying. Meanwhile, they're still fighting here, and plus we're taking away shots. We're going back to Phantom Menace to watch, like not Jake Lloyd, to young Anakin, and we're seeing him, and then we're seeing scenes of Padme, and then we're cutting back to the fight. So we know that a lot of time passed for Qui-Gon, right? That's why Qui-Gon died. Hey, he's doing his best to try to rationalize it. I just think that there's been a lot of Star Wars lightsaber stuff that I've seen recently that I don't think is equal to what a lightsaber is supposed to do. When Finn gets in the Force Awakens in the end of the movie, I want to say Kylo Ren uses a lightsaber, okay? And the tip of the lightsaber just goes up the back of Finn. It was just the tip, and it didn't penetrate too hard. It was enough to definitely do damage, but not kill him. That's what I'm going to tell myself, okay? Now, during the movie watching it, it's not what I told myself, but I have to tell myself these lies to rationalize it. After this, I can't rationalize it, man. Seeing that the stab go in, the stab go out, and then seeing that she's perfectly okay with like a minimal damage to her inside, and she healed, and then there's like a little circle. That's all that there is. There's a little circle inside of her that she's got to worry about. That's malarkey. And I don't want to have to use rationale to explain why Qui-Gon, a Force user, couldn't, but she could. She shouldn't have survived that. The honest truth. That should have been it for this character. Sabine Wren, not that I hate her. The Force bubble that they say that they do. If you guys are unaware, I remember watching Star Wars videos, and I would learn that the reason why people don't just use the Force on each other is because before they fight, they actually power up like a aura, like a Goku would have put an aura on, and he all the people using the Force would have this like bubble that's invisible that's on top of them to prevent them from actually being Force manipulated and things to actually, to make them subject to other things. Now, if they lose their concentration, that's the only time when these guys get the Force used on them, and the telekinetic abilities lifts them up into the air and stuff. That's what I've been learning from people who I watch who are really, really into Star Wars. That's all. 2 galaxies. Oh, no, we're not done. Flesh wound. This was unnecessary. I feel like losing a hand would have been more interesting. You're right. Think about that. Diesel's right. Think about how other things could have happened. Losing a hand, or how about this? She stabs her right on the side, not inside the torso, just right on the side, grazes her, and she has to now, she's wounded. And then Shin looks back, and she sees Ahsoka and the ship coming. I gotta make my getaway. I gotta leave. Can you imagine that? Wouldn't that make a whole lot more sense to you? It would make a lot more sense to me. I wouldn't worry about anything. I would say, oh, thank God she just got a little flesh wound, a little taste, and that's why she'll be okay in the second episode. She can still be on the hospital bed, if she would have just got like a light bruise that happened to the side of her. Can we see the bruise, by the way? Where are you at? Oh, we don't see it in that scene. We did see it though. We did see it earlier in the show. This isn't Jedi versus Sith. It's Jedi versus witches, and witches come in 3. You know too much, Rosales. That actually scares me. Yeah, most fans see clips of her later on in the season. That scene must have fooled some, but not most. Yeah. Plus, you think Shin would have finished her off when Ahsoka showed up. Plot armor? I don't know. Watch the series move on and not even address Sabine not dying. And I can't defend it. There's still a lot of good that happens, but that stuff needs to stop. And it can stop. They could explain Sabine Wren has that part of her body fortified for lightsaber stabbings. They could say that. I don't know. Or they can say that the stomach of a Mandalorian, you know what they say about the stomachs of Mandalorians, and create some new lore, new sayings. They could do anything. And they moved the entry point of the lightsaber when she pulled up her shirt. It was much higher in the fight scene, and then much lower when it was shown after it healed. If that's the case, Demore, if that's the case, then that's just a mistake of them. They're supposed to have a scene for scene remake of what happened at the end of Rebels, where she rubs the mural and she turns around and Ahsoka's there. So Sabine does that. Now, in the actual TV show, we remember her putting her finger a little bit higher on the mural, and then in the show, she puts her fingers a little bit lower on the mural. She's still touching the same character's face, but her finger's here and her finger's here. I will just let that go. So and it actually helps. If the wound is somewhere lower and it's not where all those big organs are, and it is lower, which I tried to find it, but I couldn't pull it up. It was weird. I tried to find the actual scene where she assesses her wound, but I couldn't find it at all. And I don't want to show too much of the show, because you know how that can be. Freaking. I'm actually on the side of my screen looking at the scene where she touches her insides. No, I don't see it. My bad. I was on this scene here, where Ahsoka returns with Hera. Yeah, that too, chill. Like when Dooku up Obi-Wan in the Attack of the Clone Saber duel. Yeah, because he lost his focus, exactly. A witch cannot possibly survive being impaled. I don't know. The dark side energy. I don't know. He cut Obi-Wan up in Attack of the Clones. New galaxy. Phenomenal. World building. We don't even know what's all in the unknown regions, right? But there's this new galaxy, a new threat. And could also be where they are, where the heroes are that we all like. It could also be where they are during the events of the sequel trilogy, that little 2-3 year time period of the movie where Rey and Finn are all there. The good guys that we love, that Mandalorian and Grogu and all the characters, and they could all be there during this series, the sequel series. Good. There's a new threat. There's mystery. There's so much unknown, and there's a reason for why. We'll go, where did that come out of? Oh, well, yeah, there's a brand new galaxy, of course. Of course, it's different. It's warranted. We'll never have to worry how things can come out of nowhere, which is a big problem in franchises where, well, all of a sudden, the Eternals are here out of nowhere. We don't have to worry about things like that. We're going to say there's this new galaxy. I'm somewhat familiar with the Yuuzhan Vong, but there are also other threats in extended material that address new galaxies. And maybe a lack of lore but by the writers, or her surviving the wound is an important plot point indicating something yet not explained. Let's hope for that. Big time. She had Beskar modifications there from a prior stab wound that we're gonna see in a flashback when they were training and she was the Padawan. There we go. We explained it just like that. In the scene where the Dark Jedi, what's her name? The witch. You see this here? You see where she lifts up the device with her little green magic, the little green fire that's underneath there? Yo, to me, I'm worried. I'm worried about magic and the limits that magic have. Every time I hear about magic or I'm reading Doctor Strange, I recognize magic as a consequenceless reason for doing extraordinary things. There's no energy level of how much you can do. Whenever I see magic, I go, ooh, this is reason to be worried. Magic and Star Wars are not going to mix well for me, so I'm worried about it. Morgan Elsbeth, I saw the fight you had during Mandalorian Season 2. Why didn't Ahsoka just use the Force and lift you like an object? Probably because your magic had a little Force aura around you that prevented that. Why didn't the lightsaber touch? Because your Beskar armor, your Beskar rod was a formidable equal to what a lightsaber's damage can wield. All right, they explained it. Good. But there's going to be questions, and there's going to be remarkable things that Morgan Elsbeth, this Dathomir White witch, Night Sister descendant, who's part of the family, but not really. There's going to be a point in time where she does this extraordinary thing, and I'm going to go, okay, why couldn't she? She was kept prisoner, her, this whole time? Yeah, that's not going to fly for me. It still is. I didn't really gather that it was a brand new galaxy until the scene where Balin Skull actually talks about it here. He's going to have a line in a second. He called it Paldea, right? This is our location. This is our destination. Where Grand Admiral Thrawn has vanished. Pause. Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra are together. I don't want to hear that the new masked Inquisitor is actually Ezra. Then their Thrawn is still there with the Purgler. You think Ezra got back and he was like, oh, no, Thrawn's right. You think Thrawn isn't... You think if Thrawn wanted to be back, he would be back. Thrawn isn't there. He convinced Ezra maybe in the first few months to become part of Team Thrawn. I'm actually the good guy here. We'll work together. You make trips back and forth. Hey, become an Inquisitor, put on a mask. Why the hell would Ezra do that? There's no way. Is the Inquisitor Bear Safi? That's possible. It didn't look like the physique of a lady, but then what we only saw Bear Safi when she was a young teen. By then, she could have developed the look that fits that Inquisitor, the new one that we saw who's masked up. Masks are a reason for somebody to unmask and show, oh, that's who it is the whole time. Or also it's a reason for her to unmask and, okay, it was an alien species, which would have been really expensive to digitally fix up in the show. So we'll have the character masked a lot of the time. That's also possible, okay? It's not Maul, though. It's not Maul. But it could be some sort of Dathomirian person also. Dave Filoni did write all the episodes. That would be terrible if he was Ezra this whole time. Like, surprise! I can appreciate the voice actor who voiced Thrawn in the animated series will be Thrawn in Ahsoka. Yeah, Lars Mikkelsen is his name. Yeah, and the voice is kind of key. It's not the way Hera Syndulla voice isn't really attached to the character. You could say that Ahsoka Tano's voice is attached to Ashley Eckstein. You could say that. But it's not an accent the way Thrawn has. And there's some people whose voices can't be replicated. There's another guy whose name I forget, but he was part of that big Lothalian thing that the same actor is playing the character. voice actors playing the live actor. Good. It works. It works for me some places. Is it Galen Malik? Is it Starkiller? Is it a new take on it? That's within Dave Filoni's wheelhouse, man. He'll take something that was once upon a time part of Star Wars and then I'll repurpose it. That's what he did with Thrawn. So it could be Starkiller, a version of that, or it's just a useless Inquisitor. I hope it's just a useless Inquisitor. I do. I don't want it to unmask and be somebody that we knew this whole time. Would be whack. It would be whack. And they would have to do a lot with the character first before the unmasking of it was him the whole time would mean something for me. It does look like a dude, and yeah, they could always do the Taskmaster thing. The Masked Inquisitor is Mace Windu. Shut up. The lightsaber was too red. It was red, right? It wasn't orange. I don't think Ezra is under the mask. It's not a Tron Legacy Rinsler situation. That's lazy writing. If I knew what you were talking about, I'd be with you. So now that you mentioned the color of the lightsaber of the villain, I want to see if it was orange or if it was red. So let's go to that scene there. Here. Oh, I'm not sharing it. See there? See the lightsaber that he threw? It was red. And when he asks for it back and she's going to move out the way, which was so cool. This scene right here is really, really cool, where he reaches out for it and all of a sudden it comes back. It was a red lightsaber. It was totally red. Even though I didn't freeze it at the exact right time, you can bet your bottom dollar that this lightsaber was of the rouge variety. I'll pause it properly. Whatever. I'm going to get like flagged for this. I think this rule is 7 seconds of footage and then it's too much. Okay. That would conclude the series, this whole entire show. The way I feel about it is positive. I would have loved to talk about it with a panel or something, but as you can see, it's 7 a.m. This is like the perfect time for me to be doing this. Now I'm going to go do some stuff like read the Creed 3, issue number 3, Creed, the next round. It takes place 10 years after Creed. Young Amara Creed is the protagonist of this, and they want to see her and what she can do. You want to know more about the other Creed family members? Because Adonis did have a brother and a sister. Remember that? You're going to see his sister in this Creed series. I'm going to cover this on the House of Nerds show. Go on YouTube and find the House of Nerds show. That's where I'll be in 3 hours from now. I'll be talking about this comic, filling in for Sergio and for L. So kind of non-Sith wielder red saber. Probably, when I saw Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back light up a lightsaber, yeah, everyone can use a lightsaber. Sabine's saber, which was green, which used to belong to Ezra, I guess they had to try to explain that to me. That is Ezra's lightsaber, okay? You made modifications, and that's why now it's yours. You just want a reason for why the toys that they're going to sell are going to say Sabine's lightsaber. That's what you want. Non-Force users can wield lightsabers, but it's very difficult. Is it much like the Darksaber? Is it much like how it was heavy for Din Djarin? I gotta make it clear, I'm not talking about Din Grogu. That's weird. That still hasn't sank in. It's Grogu Djarin, okay? Or just Grogu. On the fighting side. Non-Force users can wield lightsabers, but it's very difficult. On the fighting side. Now I am stumped on who the masked one could be. Now, you are stumped, and it doesn't need to be somebody. All it needs to be is he takes off his mask, and it's like a Twi'lek, and we go, okay, I guess they didn't want to have to do the thing. Or they take off his mask, and it's someone with even more CGI necessary for their faces. That's all that we need. It won't be a Rhodian, those green things. Those guys never have anything significant in Star Wars, okay? Let's close out the video. She cuts her hair. She decides to be the Padawan. The guy gets arrested who was working at the shop at the not the auto shop, but the place where they created all of these new technologies and stuff for ships and parts and stuff. The big hyper engine where it looks like some ship is going to latch onto. Is there going to be a Death Star that latches onto the hyper ship that is going to make them be able to fly? Like, this guy was in on it. Keep him alive. Let's ask him questions. How many sympathizers were there? They used the same staff for production, We couldn't just let go of everybody. Ahsoka says it's for greed. not out of loyalty. People are being paid off. If that's the case, that's a decent explanation for some people. But no, there are really some people who, as we saw, for the Empire, they really believe in the Empire. They are brainwashed people. So it's not just a matter of they did it for the money. Some did, not maybe even most did, but not everybody there. Some of these guys are straight up villains. And from the way that this guy was answering and not answering and being a liar, he's part of the Empire, baby. He's part of the Empire. This guy and the ships and the stuff that exists, if we look at the First Order, they exist because of him. Look at this series fixing up some stuff for the Nyquil trilogy, explaining how they could just climb the ranks. Well, it's because as soon as in Corellia, as soon as things turn, the rebels beat the Empire and it goes back to the New Republic, it doesn't mean that all the staff left. They were still working on the side. As we learned in Last Jedi, the good guys, the bad guys, we sell to it's the same manufacturer. There it is, right there. We see more of that. So that's why. That's why. Great work there. I'm out. I'll see you guys on another one on these random hours. Big day today. I'm going to be busy. And then I'm going to be talking about the Black Panther issue number 3 with a panel of guests. I think I've got 4 guests right now. You never know, people flop and stuff, but that'll be the panel that I do only for members. So sign up. It's $1 if you want to be a member and be part of the live chat and write stuff on the side as we talk about the Black Panther new issue number 3. It's T'Challa time, the live stream happening on Sunday. If you're not here for that, don't worry. An edited, cropped version will be on YouTube for everybody. Bye, everyone.